Welcome back to your weekly roundup of everything that happened in Zenless Zone Zero, where we will cover everything that you missed inside and outside of the game. This week, it's finally time for patch 1.6. So I hope you're all ready to pull Anby. Starting of course with in-game news, as mentioned, the big thing is going to be of course the new patch 1.6, which is going to be arriving on March 12th. As a friendly reminder, don't forget that you will be able to preload and then install the patch beforehand so that you can get in as soon as possible. But what can you expect once the patch does arrive? Of course, there will be the new epilogue story as well as the Soldier Anby agent story. And naturally, to go along with this, the thing everyone is waiting for will be getting the new banner featuring Soldier Anby as the main limited S rank. And the two featured A ranks to go along with her will be Pulchra and Ben. By the way, speaking of Pulchra and Anby, I already have a video going over Pulchra's kit and how to use her, so check that out after this. And keep an eye out for when my Anby guide gets uploaded later too. But it's not just the new banners, we will also be having a rerun banner of Bernice as the limited S rank. And on the rerun, the A ranks will also be the same, so Pulchra and Ben once again. Both of these banners will be running from the start of the patch until the 2nd of April, so for 3 weeks. Now, aside from preloading the patch, one other way you can prepare for 1.6 is by doing some last minute pre-farming, especially because there is no new Notorious Hunt boss in patch 1.6, meaning that you can already start getting Pulchra and Anby's core skill materials. For Soldier Anby, she uses the Notorious Hunt drop from the Giant Mech, although as for the Expert Challenge drop, Anby will be requiring the new stage drop. Pulchra, on the other hand, needs the Pompeii Notorious Hunt drop, and for her Expert Challenge, she needs the Stealth Phantom, which drops from Shadow Jane. And then of course, if you want to get the agents up to level 60, you'll need 30 purple certification seals, 32 blue certification seals, 4 green seals, and about 300 purple investigator XP logs. But I mean, we just had double drops for combat simulation, so I'm sure everyone's already stocked up, right? I know I have. In fact, I'll be streaming my pulls for Soldier Anby the day the patch drops and immediately building her. So if you want to see me absolutely not lose my 50-50 to Nekomata, then be sure to stop by. But moving over to the social media side of the game, to hype up Anby's release, her character demo was released. And so, a Twitter event is currently underway where you can win a metal badge of one of the in-game factions by simply following the Zenless Zone Zero Twitter account and then reposting the tweet linked in the description below. And then if you are in the Southeast Asia region or are going there sometime soon, be sure to save the following dates because HoYoFest 2025 was recently announced. Starting this July, several locations will be having plenty of exciting events, both offline and online, so you can still experience it even if you aren't there in person. And then specifically, if you are an artist or a cosplayer, you can apply to HoYoFest to get a chance to show off your work in the artist alley or even on stage. Next, I know we've been going over how excited we all are for 1.6 coming up in a couple of days, but honestly, right now, the talk of the town is something coming way later, and that is going to be patch 1.7 because of the drip marketing that was revealed over the weekend. The first that was shown off was Vivian, who is an Ether Anomaly agent, which we were all pretty much expecting based on the one disc set that we were shown in patch 1.6, since it favors anomaly and ether damage. But then the next reveal was none other than Hugo Vlad himself, who is going to be an ice attacker. Both of these two are of course from Mockingbird. Now, interestingly enough, right after the Hugo reveal, there was a follow-up post saying that the devs are paying attention to our feedback and suggestions. And as such, Hugo's character model will be adjusted before his actual release in 1.7. So what you see here in the teaser and what you've seen of him already in-game might not 100% be what he looks like when he becomes playable. This of course is giving heavy Miyabi facial change flashbacks, so it's likely that Hugo might have similar changes in the works. But honestly, there's not much I can think of that's quote-unquote wrong with him. If you can see any room for improvements in his model, please do leave them down in the comments below. If anything, for me, it's that in a lot of the story videos and images, we see him wearing a little snazzy fedora, which is missing from his in-game model and his teaser image. But otherwise though, if either Vivian or Hugo pique your interest, then thankfully you have plenty of time to save. Patch 1.7 will only be starting on the 23rd of April, so you've got just over a month of saving to do. And on the topic of saving, if you're curious how many pulls you'll be able to gather throughout patch 1.6, it is expected that through all of the various event rewards, dailies and login rewards, we will be getting about 13,640 polychrome as well as 15 encrypted master tapes. All of this as a free-to-play player, which when all converted will result in just over 100 pulls. But coming back to Vivian and Hugo, it's time for everyone's favorite, the speculation zone. As mentioned, there's not really much of a surprise for Vivian since we can basically already tell that she's going to be an off-field focused ether anomaly thanks to her disc set providing a hefty 25% ether damage bonus when someone other than the equipper uses an EX special. However, Hugo is sort of a wild card here. We have yet another ice attacker. I say another because obviously we have Ellen, and then even though she's an anomaly agent, let's be real, any form of ice DPS is always going to be compared against Miyabi. But forgetting about comparisons, at face value, Mockingbird as a whole seems a bit weirdly paired. I can't really imagine how an ether anomaly would want to work in tandem with an ice attacker. But for Vivian's side, I'm sure she will very easily slot into any of the typical anomaly and disorder focused teams, of which there are many options for her, especially if she is going to be an off-fielder, because then you can just switch into Vivian every now and then, have her do her thing, whatever her thing is, and then enjoy the free chunks of damage. And remember, as an ether agent, technically speaking, she is supposed to be quote-unquote rarer than other types of elements. So between Shuyen rerunning in the second half of patch 1.6 and then Vivian being a new ether anomaly in 1.7, it'll be a great chance for you to pick up an ether DPS of some sort here, because who knows when we're going to get another one. Meanwhile, as for Hugo, I mean, it makes sense in lore, and now of course it makes sense with him being an ice attacker, but immediately the first thing that will pop into everyone's heads is, will he work with Lycan? As a stunner, Lycan can obviously help Hugo do more damage by stunning the enemy, and then also Lycan can increase ice damage, which is, hey, exactly what Hugo is. Who knows, maybe Hugo's kit will be like the yin to Lycan's yang, where Hugo can also help the stunner out in their job. I know I'm praying for like a team attack with Hugo and Lycan similar to Ben and Calder. I know it's not going to happen, but let me dream, alright? But something to keep an eye out for in both Vivian and Hugo's scenario though is the new aftershock attacks, which are being introduced now in patch 1.6. It seems as though aftershocks are going to be the new term for any attack done by an agent while they are off-field. And if Vivian really is going to be an off-field agent, then it's likely that she too will have an aftershock attack of her own. Of course, we'll only know concrete details in about 4 weeks time when we have a 1.7 livestream, where they will show off the official kit details of the two agents, and then maybe also reveal Robin, the Mockingbird Bangbu. Now, if you want to hear even more yapping and expectations for Vivian and Hugo, then you can also listen to the latest episode of the Losing the 50 podcast featuring myself, Average Luck Gamer, Kete the 7th, and special guest Julian GG. But otherwise though, that is going to be it for this week's news roundup. As always, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, I would greatly appreciate it if you would click the like button as well as the subscribe button. Until next time though, I hope you all have a good week and I'll see you all later. Bye bye!